Greetings, noble ones. I am Sir Aoth, and I happily welcome you to this video dedicated to the one and only. Capitano, the first of the Fatui, has fallen in 5-3, but his story is far from over. As one of my favorite characters alongside Farina and my expectations for Vorka, I want to break down his sacrifice and how he truly saved Natlan. You've likely heard discussions about this from other videos, threads, or even your adventure rank 70 friends who sweat and try hard in a game with no PvP. A little self-reflection here. Capitano is beloved, and we all have our own insights to share. I offer mine humbly, with conviction that you will learn some new things despite the popular topic. And if I miss anything, drop it in the comments. As always, I shall be there to respond to each of them. Now, let us begin. Despite keeping to the shadows more than I'd have liked, Capitano played a crucial role in Natlan's fate. While the Traveler and Mahuika only stalled a threat, he ensured lasting salvation by offering himself. But how did it work? Revealing himself as a Khaenri'ahn, he stands in honor along with the 4 pillars of strength of the Black Sun dynasty, which most people know as Khaenri'ah, though I suspect this was meant to be 5 pillars, who then became the 5 sinners of Khaenri'ah. Regardless, he is separate from them, granted the title of Sentinel Knight. What does this mean? I have no idea. I wasn't prepared for people reaching this far into the video. No, but really. His exact role remains unclear because the military ladder of Khaenri'ah is still unknown, but he may be connected to the Sentinel of the Golden Hall, whose alternate title is Knight Commander, matching with Capitano's honorifics. This would mean that his real name is Hadura. He could also simply be the Bloodstained Knight, a theory I refuse to let go of because it means Columbina would be in love with him. As a Khaenri'ahn, Capitano was cursed with immortality, and you might think that all Khaenri'ahns are immortal, but not all of them shared this fate. Some were cursed with immortality, others with the curse of wilderness, which transformed them into hilichurls, and others, such as his fallen soldiers, simply perished before being cursed, and so they had their souls absorbed into his modified heart, transforming their souls into knowledge. How the hell do you transform memories and souls into knowledge? What does it even mean? I shall explain its function in a moment, or right now if you subscribe to the channel. Look at that tiny number, isn't it adorable? Okay then, his heart, altered before he became Sentinel Knight, allowed him to absorb memories and souls of the deceased and turn it into knowledge, most likely strengthening him, mirroring Nuts and Quoite's attempt to merge the whole of humanity into a descender. Yet, despite its modifications, his heart remained honorable. He instead used his heart to preserve his soldiers' souls, waiting for the chance to return them to the ley lines, as Outlanders are unable to access them. That opportunity arose with Ronova's Rule of Death. What are the rules even, you ask? No? To simplify, the laws of Teyvat were set by the heavenly principles, with Thrain, the primordial one, and the 4 shining shades, shaping its foundation with rules and concepts. Knowledge is one of those concepts, which at its core is the raw data of all things, binding them to the ley lines. As mentioned in my story recap, Venti was ahead of his time. Remember Stanley from Venti's story quest? He was a Mondstadt adventurer who perished in Mare Jivari in Natlan. His friend, in denial, took on his name, memories and appearance, keeping Stanley's spirit alive through him. Realizing this, Venti freed the burden, extracting the knowledge of the real Stanley from Hans and allowing it to return to the ley lines to rest. By seeking to embrace death despite his immortality, he defied Ronova, the Shade of Death who cursed Khaenri'ahns with immortality. If she was to accept his death as the price of death under her pact with Spelunky, he would have created a paradox. This forced her to abandon either the curse of immortality or her rule of death, and she forsakes the former, as the punishment against the faithless sinners must stand. Capitano's sacrifice led to an eternal stability within Natlan's Night Realm, which is its ley lines, ensuring outlanders could return to them upon death, preventing Mahuika's temporary solution from dooming the nation centuries later as the abyss would surge again and the cycle of war would resume. With this act, Capitano, a former mortal, a pillar of strength and honor, became the first in Teyvat's known history to coerce a shade of the heavenly principles into breaking their own laws. The consequences of this remain to be seen, especially since the heavenly principles were already displeased with Ronova's past aid to Natlan. After 500 years, Capitano can now rest. But is his story over? I doubt it. His real name remains unknown. His body is still bound by immortality, and his soul, now part of the ley lines, could open paths for reincarnation. Perhaps he returns playable, free from the rot, unmasked, mirroring the Capitano from Commedia dell'arte, who is always unmasked in the end. But honestly, I'd rather keep the mask. The mask is the face. You may notice I might have a sort of bias for masks and helmets. Though his screen time was lacking, his sacrifice was immense. He didn't get the spotlight he deserved, but he won't be forgotten, not just due to his popularity, but also because I've been saving for him for 2 years. It is my 3rd time saying it, and it won't be the last.
No,
I guess I have more time to aim for C12 or 10, unless Vorka shows up in Marajivari. Then I might cry. Of joy or sorrow, I am not sure. With this chapter closed, I encourage you to stay tuned for my next 3 videos. I will be talking about the ties of the ancient moon remnants, which Harbinger has been leaving marks of their presence and will claim the Pyronosis, and whether the Pyro Sovereign could become playable. Spicy stuff, really. As the sun sets on this tale, a new dawn will rise. I shall now go touch some grass. Sir Eoth bids thee farewell.